What's up, creators? My name is Monica, and today we're going to dive into Tinkercad and do a tutorial together. This is one that a lot of students have struggled with, so we wanted to create these videos to help guide you through. This is part 1 of 5, so make sure you check out the rest of the tutorial series. To begin, we're going to go to Tinkercad.com and get logged in. If you haven't done this before, check out our previous video called Navigating Tinkercad for First-Time Students. Once you've logged in, click on Resources at the top of the page. Then, click on Learning Center, click on View All. Here you will see all of Tinkercad's tutorials. Today we're going to select Let's Learn Tinkercad. There is a lot to this tutorial, so we'll cover each part in its own video. Let's begin with section 1, Getting Started, Navigation and Menus by clicking on the blue Start button. The panel on the left says, Welcome to the world of design. Design is the art of discovering all the things that haven't been made yet. It is equal parts learning and teaching, breaking and making, seeing and showing. Design is sharing. Tinkercad is an amazingly powerful, easy-to-use tool for creating digital designs that are ready to be 3D printed into super cool physical objects. You will be guided through the 3D design process via easy hands-on lessons that teach you the basics of Tinkercad before moving on to more complex modeling techniques. Let's get started. Go ahead and click the blue Next button. Welcome to Tinkercad. Tinkercad is a fun and easy-to-use tool for creating digital designs that are ready to be 3D printed into physical objects. In this project, we will provide you with the foundational skills necessary to start designing amazing models. In your first lesson, you will be guided step by step through how to use the work plane, Tinkercad's menus and interface, camera controls, and the basics of moving objects. Let's go! Continue to the next step. Arriving in Tinkercad. When you first arrive in Tinkercad, you will see the work plane, which looks like a blank sheet of graph paper. This is where you will be creating your designs. Now, find the Tinkercad logo in the upper left. Below the logo is a menu bar which extends across the top of the screen. The buttons across the menu bar are actions that you can perform with Tinkercad. To the left of the work plane, under the Tinkercad logo, are the View Cube and Navigation buttons. To the right of the work plane is the Shapes menu. These shapes are the foundation of all creation in Tinkercad. Now, let's take a detailed look at the work plane. Exploring the work plane. The work plane is the surface upon which all things you create will appear. It is designed to help you accurately position shapes. The work plane looks like a piece of graph paper. It is broken up into 1 centimeter major grid lines, the thick blue lines, and 1 millimeter minor grid lines, the thin blue lines. In the lower right-hand corner, the Edit Grid button allows you to change the units of your design. You can change the grid to measure with major grid lines in inches and minor grid lines in 1/8 of an inch. The View Cube. Your view in Tinkercad is called the camera. In fact, the terms we are going to use are movie camera terms: tilt, rotate, pan, and zoom. The first method of moving around Tinkercad is the View Cube, which is linked to your view of the 3D design and work plane, and helps you tilt and rotate your camera. 1. As you hover your cursor over the View Cube, different areas will highlight. 2. Clicking on any of the highlighted area of the View Cube will rotate the camera to that view. 3. As the View Cube is moved, the shapes on the work plane will also be rotated to match. 4. Go ahead and click different areas of the View Cube to see the results in the editor window. You should see your view of the work plane and any shapes on the work plane rotating with the View Cube. 5. Want to move your camera back to where you started? Click on the Home button below the View Cube and to return to your starting view. Now you're getting it. Hints are outlines of shapes or work planes to guide you through the lessons. Continue to the next step. Shapes menu. The hint wants you to grab a cube and place it in the center of the work plane. To do that, we'll need to explore the Shapes menu. Step 1. Find the basic Shapes menu and drag a box to the work plane and place it within the hint. 2. Continue to the next step. Viewing your object from all sides. Rotate around your shape and check to see if it's completely within the hint. If you find that your block is not perfectly placed, like the image below, it is okay. Simply click and drag the shape until you are happy with its placement. Still not sure you've got it right? Let's take a closer look by zooming in. 1. Double check your box placement within the hint by rotating around it and looking at it from all sides. 2. Continue to the next step. Zooming in on your object. If you need to zoom in on your object, you can use your mouse scroll wheel or touchpad. Try it. If you have a mouse with a scroll wheel, use it for zooming in and out. If you use a touchpad, you will want to zoom using the gesture that you normally use in other apps when wanting to zoom. Continue to the next step. Controlling your camera with your mouse. There are 3 main ways to move effectively in your 3D design: rotate, pan, and zoom. If you move your mouse pointer over the work plane and right-click drag, press and hold right button and move your mouse, you'll notice that your camera will rotate and tilt. Tip: you can always pan by holding the mouse wheel and dragging. If you have a scroll wheel on your mouse, you can use it to zoom in and out. Instructions: move your mouse pointer over the work plane, then click and hold your right mouse button to rotate and tilt your camera. 2. While holding Shift, move your mouse pointer over the work plane, then click and hold your right mouse button to pan your camera right and left. 3. Continue to the next step. If you're stuck, click on the Show Hint button, and then select Next. Using the Shape window. When an object is selected, you will see the Shape window located in the upper right corner of the work plane. The Shape window gives you control over a number of properties in an object, including the color, visibility, transparency, and hole functions. 1. Click on the Shape window and select Color. Click around on different colors and see how your object changes. 2. Continue to the next step. Working with shapes in 3D space. We're now going to explore working with objects in 3D space, which means not just moving them on the work plane, but also moving them away from and even underneath the work plane. This can be tricky at first, so let's learn some tools to help us think in 3D. For the rest of the lesson, we'll need a second object so we can explore these tools. Drag a sphere onto the work plane and place it within the sphere hint. When you're done, continue to the next step. The 3D Modeler's Salute. Our first tool in the 3D Modeler's Salute will help you think in 3D. Make your hand like the hand in the picture. We're going to give each finger a letter. Your middle finger will be the x-axis, which travels from left to right, defining the bottom edge of the work plane. Your index finger will be the y-axis, which extends from the bottom of the screen to the top, defining the left edge of the work plane. Your thumb will be the z-axis, which is an invisible edge that is perpendicular to the work plane. These axes meet at the origin, the center of the grid, with the word work plane. Continue to the next step. Translation: more than a fancy word for moving. In 3D modeling, there are many ways to move an object. The first type of moving is translation. Translation is changing an object's position without rotating the object or changing its size. When you move an object from left to right on the work plane, you are translating it in the positive direction along the x-axis. When you move an object from near to far, you are translating it in the positive direction along the y-axis. When you lift something up off the work plane, you are transitioning the object in the positive direction along the z-axis. Let's move things in Tinkercad to see what this means. Translating objects along the z-axis. Notice the arrow handle above the sphere. The handle allows you to move an object up or down. You'll also notice the sphere leaves a shadow on the work plane. When you drag it up, the distance between the shadow and sphere increases, and a number measurement appears to the right of the sphere. This number and the corresponding lines indicate the distance between the object and work plane. Instructions: 1. Click on the sphere. 2. Use the vertical drag handle to move the sphere to 11 millimeters off the work plane. When you're done, continue to the next step. Translating objects along the x and y axes. To move an object along the x and y axes, simply click and drag the object. As you do this, you will see two numbers appear to the right of the object. These numbers represent the distance an object has been moved from its previous position. Drag the sphere 30 millimeters so that it sits on top of the cube, intersecting as shown. The whole property. Now we're going to introduce two Boolean operations, addition and subtraction. A Boolean operation is how you can combine two objects into a new shape. Boolean addition adds one shape to another. So if the box and the sphere were combined, you'd have a single shape that was a box with a hemisphere protrusion on top. With Boolean subtraction, you can turn one shape into a negative space and use it to remove material from another. In this case, you'd be left with a box that has a hemisphere hole on top. Let's try a Boolean subtraction. While the sphere is selected, click Hole from within the inspector. When you're done, continue to the next step. Selecting multiple shapes. In order to use the sphere to cut into the box, we need to make sure the two objects are selected. To select both objects, we're going to use the band selection tool. A band is a box we draw around the shapes we wish to select. Click on the empty space, not on an object or you may drag it, to the left and above the shapes you wish to select. Then, while holding the mouse button down, drag your mouse cursor below and to the right. 1. Click and hold the left mouse button while your cursor is in empty space, outside of the shapes you wish to select, to start a band. 2. Pull the band around the objects to the opposite extreme corner. 3. Let go of the mouse button. 4. Continue to the next step. Making complex shapes with grouping. By using the group function, we can use any combination of Boolean addition and subtraction to turn objects into one complex shape. This means any combination of solids and holes can be used to make any shape imaginable. Try that now. With both objects selected, click the group icon in the menu bar. Rotate around the object using the navigation wheel or your mouse and take a look at how the shapes have changed. When you're done, continue to the next step. Congratulations! Great job! You've made it through your first Tinkercad lesson. We've covered a lot of material: axes, work plane and grid, navigation, grouping, shapes, inspector, hints, selection, and handles. Now that you know the basics, let's move on to new topics. And that's part 1. Stay tuned for the rest of our Tinkercad tutorial series and like our video and subscribe to our channel for more content. Thanks for joining me and the Alaska STEAM Hub. We'll see you next time, and as always, keep creating.